so many of us are, like, told our whole lives kind of just suck it up, take what you get, beggars can't be choosers,
Underline that, please. My gosh, that's
right?
therapy right there. That is so it with being like a kid who grew up chronically ill is like, you are causing too many problems. You're draining too many resources. Stop. Everything we do for you is so much extra. Okay, this is long in the waiting. I have been so excited to get to talk to Lake for I don't know, we've been like trying to get the schedule for like what, 3, 4 months? Like
Yeah, it's been a minute. I think you originally, like, messaged me sometime in, like, July or August,
that feels
and
right.
now
'Cause
it's
I think you were
November.
talking like you were talking about education access. No, you're talking
Yes.
transportation access. I was like, "Oh my god, you should be on the show." And like I always do, I was like, "Hey, come on the show." And then you messaged me, and then I became an idiot. And then the next time I saw you talking, I was saying like, "Oh my god, you should be on the show." And you're like, "Yeah, I tried that before. You wanna make that happen?" Like, yes, I do. We're gonna be talking about a lot of cool stuff that apparently I have totally backed up on the things I need to talk to you about because I watch your TikToks all the time, and I feel like I've already talked to you, which is, the dissonance here. Good, just recently done we're gonna talk about transportation access, we're gonna talk about job access, education access, and, drag because I love Drag Race. Maybe we have
Absolutely.
the same favorite drag queen, and we'll totally get into that. Think
Yes.
about yours while you're listening, but I think we're gonna start with the thing you had just talked about, which is housing access, because, oh my god, so lay into it for me, if you wanna, like, list your disorders, feel free, but I think this is just so freaking universal.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, yeah, I have GDS and POTS, and then, of course, the good old ADHD, autism, ADHD combo, combined type ADHD, best of both worlds. That said, like, as far as housing access goes, like, I so currently, I live in an upstairs apartment in a walk-up in Chicago, and I have some mobility issues, and when I moved in, I knew I was having some of these issues, but I was still in the diagnostic process, and it wasn't like I hadn't quite registered how severe of a hindrance it would be when I was moving into the place I live in now. And then, so currently, like, if I need to use my rollator, like I did to go to class today, then I have to carry it downstairs. And a lot of times I'll leave it down at the bottom of the stairs in my lobby. My neighbors don't seem to mind. So there's that. But like, it's one of those, like, a lot of homes are not accessible at all. And then a lot of people seem to have this assumption that, like, when you start having these issues with mobility and you become disabled and you have a chronic illness, you just kind of automatically have your home adjusted to you in some way. And the reality is that's just not how it goes. And so I live upstairs, and then I was like, okay, my lease is ending soon. It's going to be time to move. I found someone to be a roommate, and we started looking into apartments, and I can do some amount of stairs still. I'm still ambulatory, but I can't be doing flights of stairs and like 2 or 3 flights of stairs. So when I'm searching online, I noticed this issue of so many like realtors just do not at all mention what floor the apartment is on, and they like, if you get an apartment number, you can try, like, guess, but even if it says, like, garden unit, you might be going down, like, an entire flight of stairs, and a lot of them don't even mention if there's an elevator, and also, they act like that's a luxury instead of accessibility, and that's a conversation I've seen a little bit online too, is that accessibility being sold as luxury.
I started a series on TikTok where every week I discuss a different aspect of disability and what it costs that's unexpected. It is you're talking about the garden floor apartments. I was looking weirdly even before the election. I was looking to relocate to the UK to do a PhD program, and I could not believe how much more expensive the ground floors were. And it was always like, "Oh, look at this luxury." And I'm like, is wrong with you? And I know the UK does have some, like, protections in there for disability. They're not even close to what they need to be, but they're at least there. And I know there's some towns and cities that are trying to put ordinances that they have to keep a certain amount of disability units, but that gets really iffy on whether they actually do it, and much like the ADA, how much teeth it has. So talk to like, you told me a little bit about, like, looking for it, what was your experience with actually, like, did you find some way to find out more besides, like, stalking apartments online or, like, because, like, it's so much energy to leave your house when you're disabled, especially if you live somewhere that's
Totally.
wintry or snowy. How were you deciding what you were gonna go look at? Did you get any help from a real estate agent? Did you get, like, a very, like, hyper-focused friend who's very into real estate? Because 'Cause I'm that person. And how did you
Love
figure
real
it out?
estate when I'm not moving.
Right? I
So,
like Zillow
there's
Gone Wild. That's
I love
my
looking at
level.
Zillow when it's not serious.
I like
But
judging rich people's homes that I will never be able to afford. I my
absolutely, they always
child
have
and
a
I
weird
could watch
bathtub.
that. Yes. We actually, like, watch these, like, $500 million mansions and decide how you could kill people in them. Like, we have a whole murder mystery series going.
Totally. And so I ended up like, of course there's the like trying to kind of guess to some degree based off of the apartment number if it lists it. And like being able to be like, okay, this one has all right, let me go ahead and backtrack a tiny bit. Chicago does have like an ordinance of sorts that if the building is more than 4 floors, they have to have an elevator. It's either 4 or 5. So they have an ordinance that they have to have an elevator if it's beyond a certain number of floors. So I started trying to pay attention. I was like, okay, let's try to also focus more on like some of these more high-rise buildings
Mm.
because then we know that they're more likely to have that elevator. And also just kind of guessing based off of like if it says like 101, 102, something like that, that's probably a ground floor. If it says like G5, it's probably a garden apartment. And just kind of decoding based off of these apartment numbers. And when I would hear back from the leasing agents and realtors, I just started straight up asking them point blank. I was like, I need either a ground floor or something with an elevator. Is this one or the other? What floor is this on? And like, there were still a couple times that like somehow that question either got missed or like something along or like before I realized to just ask that question point blank, like I went to one unit, and I show up and I get there at the same time as this other guy, and I have my cane with me, and we're like both looking at the same unit at the same time. The realtor shows up, opens the door. I am immediately greeted by a flight of really steep stairs. And I just was like, huh. And so, like, I, like, gave it, like, a few seconds to look, and I was just like, "You know what? This isn't going to work for me. I hope it works out for him. You have a nice day." And then just carried on, like and I have asked, like, some realtors right now I have an application in at an apartment that seems like a good fit, but, like, it's so hard because a lot of these units, they don't mark if it is accessible. They don't mark if there is an elevator, and it is treated like a luxury when they do. And then
And priced like it.
yeah, it is. Like the unit that I'm looking at, the only reason that the roommate and I can afford it as low income individuals is that there's a rent special. And so there's but it's the best unit we found accessibility wise so far, and it's staying within our budget mostly. So it's it's been an interesting process. We're hoping this one works out because it looks like a really good deal. But yeah.
That's interesting is such a great word. Like, I haven't looked for a place to live since we got this house, but traveling is very similar to this, where I have a nightmare of a time making sure that where we're traveling has accessibility. And my husband is the nicest human being I've ever met, the kindest, most thoughtful, also doesn't understand how to ask questions. Like, he just is like, calls somebody, he's like, hey, so is it wheelchair accessible? They're like, yeah, yeah. And then we got there, and with you not, 10 steps to get into the place. The last one was in London and it was 3 flights of stairs. I like the 10 steps, I was like, I could see if you are someone who has never used a wheelchair before and you're like, I bet they could probably take like a few steps. But tell me how 3 flights in a Georgian building is going to be a thing. Like it's so crazy because if you don't use wheelchairs, you're not disabled. Like the amount of things people think we can do are insane. And all we're talking about is getting into the apartment. Now, once you're in there, there's a whole more like list of things we need to talk about on whether it's accessible. Do you wanna take that one? 'Cause, you're recent on this.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, some of these places have these like very narrow hallways, for example, or like very narrow doorways with like, or even just sometimes still just getting into the apartment. Sometimes that building has a super heavy door. Like the building I live in currently, the front door is heavy.
Oh my
And
gosh, yes.
my gosh, if I'm having like a day with like weakness in my hands, things like that, just accessing a building on its own, there's so many little intricacies that people don't realize. And there's things that like I will recognize my privilege of like I still am like an ambulatory person. I can still like move and walk decently. I still use my mobility aids, but I, like, also have the ability to, walk in front of my rollator, open that heavy door, put myself in between, but it's a lot of work to do that sometimes, because then I have to, like, maneuver in this weird pattern.
And if you have a bag or groceries or
Oh my god,
laundry,
yeah. And so, it's so hard to, like, just narrow things down before you get there, because even if you do ask the right questions, you're really hoping that that agent that you're speaking to even knows the right answers to them.
even if they thought of the wheelchair thing, even if they thought of no stairs, I guarantee you they did not think about the door heaviness, and if you're listening and you're like, "Oh, come on. Let me explain real quick," because I've actually had it medically tested on how bad my grip strength gets when my wrists are dislocated, which is, 80% of the time. I had the wrist strength and the grip strength of a two-year-old.
Mhm.
Literally was measured by a doctor. So, this is not out of bounds, and it happens a lot for us, especially when it gets cold.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's like, I'm great at dropping things, and so, like, it's like one of those, like, I know that I don't have, like, the greatest of strength in those categories, and I can still like I said, I can manage a lot. I make a lot of things work for me. I'm pretty good at just piecing together ideas. I'm inventive and resourceful. I will give myself that. But, like, that doesn't get rid of the fact that it is still a hindrance and that it is still a thing that can be difficult. Like, my and I have so much, like, empathy for people who are, like, full-time wheelchair users, for example, where, like, it may not be so easy to, like, try to open that heavy door if they aren't ambulatory. And, like, there's just difficulty that comes with that of just accessing an apartment in the first place to look at it. And I had people in the comments of that recent video I put up talking about it, where I had one person say that it took them over a year to find an apartment. And that's absurd.
That makes so much sense to me. When we were looking for housing, it took so long to find a place, and honestly, I found the wrong place. I love my house. I love my garden. It's lovely, and I understand the privilege of even saying whether I like or hate my house. I get that. I'm very understanding of that. But I'm still gonna say it anyway because we're gonna leverage us into the next point, which is you only know what you know. And when we got this house, we knew I was degenerative and we knew it was going fast. And we literally had to move because I was falling downstairs. Our house was a single level, but you did have to walk up a flight of stairs to get in. And then to get out, the only way was that flight of stairs or a different flight of stairs, and I had fallen down those stairs 6 times, and I had already had to hand my five-year-old to a stranger to walk that child to school because I passed out at a stop sign. Granted, it was another mom who was holding another child. I had, like, a 99% chance it was okay, but I'm a terrified mother who hovers, and the idea of handing my child to anyone I've not done a full background search on, insane. Still did it. Child's fine. Child's an adult now. I think child's your age now. I'm almost 99% sure you are the age of my children. Like, it was that bad that we had to move, and we had to move quickly so I could be near people who could support me. But I only knew what I knew, and going through each house, trying to envision like, first off, you have to envision how much worse you're gonna get, which is really hard to do. As you're saying, like, "I can walk a few steps, so we're gonna look at places that have a few steps." I'm going, "Oh, my darling, darling person. I just have some bad news for you, my friend."
No, yeah, like, we luckily the place that we have
Yeah,
the
was
application in
getting there.
at, no steps.
Thank God.
None. So, I'm
Yeah.
like yeah, I am, like, currently actually thinking of, like, disability aids and such involved because of just the overwhelming threat of the loss of the ACA that is potential. I'm like, okay, well, while I have decent insurance and am still insurable, do I like I've toyed already with the idea of do I get a wheelchair? So I'm like, okay, is this do I go ahead and I just messaged a friend earlier who I know has one and I was like, "Hey, how do you do this?" And like that's like one thing that I do feel like is so important that I feel people don't think to do so often is just asking people who might already know and
I can walk you
using the
through the whole
resources.
thing.
Yep.
Yes, I'll happily walk you through that, and I'm sure this is gonna
Yep.
be a whole 'nother episode we will do if you are interested, talking about when you need a mobility aid, what the different ones look like, what they can do for you, and why most of us have a collection of them.
Yep.
Because we
Because
need
I
ones for different days. It's
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, I usually use a cane when I'm going to class, and today one of my classmates saw me with my rollator, and I've brought it like once or twice, but he hasn't spoken to me much, and I guess he thought I just had a leg injury. Because in the past I've shown up with a knee brace and an ankle brace at the same time. I think that's what he connected the dots as, and he was like, "Oh my god, it got worse?" And I was like I then had to be like, "Actually, like, this is what a dynamic disability is." And, like, give a little mini explanation of that in, like, a 30-second explanation.
You know, we are such good business people because we have perfected the elevator pitch. Like, we all
Yeah,
know how to explain all parts of our disability in less than, like, 20 seconds. It's just what we have to do with strangers all the time.
all the time. I've literally had someone on an elevator look at me holding my cane and say, my god, you have a cane. Is everything okay? And I just go, it's a chronic thing. And then she goes, here's my doctor. He'll fix you right up. And I just looked at her. I was like, that's nice. And just walked off the elevator. I was like, this doesn't do anything for me, but thanks. Like, I didn't even tell you what my chronic thing was. You don't know
And I
why I.
guarantee you that person is not actually a doctor. I would
Yeah,
put money that that's an acupuncturist or a chiropractor.
probably. That's like, and oh my God, the frequency to which people tell me about a chiropractor,
Yeah,
which
that's a great
I'm,
idea for HEDS. And if you heard me, let me just underline, no, please don't. Please
yeah,
don't.
no,
Don't ever.
I'm good. I don't
Don't. No,
yeah,
not with HED,
I
not with Ehlers-Danlos, please don't.
yeah,
Never
I
worth it.
funny enough, the same podcast where I first ever heard of Ehlers-Danlos was actually the podcast that also informed me about why I didn't want to be going to chiropractors in general. And so, it was a now I'm not gonna name the podcast because I strongly disagree with the values of the podcast. This
I'm
is
hoping it's not
prior.
mine.
No, 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 no. This is not a disability podcast. It is it used to be not so problematic, but it is well known.
God, these things happen so often. I keep, like,
Right?
falling in love with, like, a podcast or a writer or a singer. Taylor Swift, go yourself.
I
I'm
was
so tired.
I was a fan of the guest, and so I didn't even know who the host was at the time.
I don't know
And
that one.
like the guest was like the one who
Who's the
like
host?
the host, the name of the podcast will give it away.
Okay, never mind,
I
sorry.
don't
No
wanna
worries.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
no
wanna name
problem.
the podcast
All good.
because I just don't wanna promote it. So
No, I hear you. Like, there's one that I absolutely have loved, and then, like, I just kinda got the ick from the host, but I loved the guest so much that I was like, "I can just ignore the host," and then now it's getting so bad that I'm like, "I think I'll just stick with my favorites right now."
yep. Sometimes it's like that. It's so bad. Like, and so many of these, like, so many of them, that's kind of like why, like, when you first reached out to me, I was like, let me get back to you later in the day so I
Yep,
could have time to go and, like, look through the kinds of guests you had on, kind of listen to some episodes before I was like, yeah, let me do this. Because I
and that's
wanted
what
to make the
if you,
informed
like, come on,
decision.
you have to. I always have it in my questions, you have to at least try,
Yeah.
because it's a different kind of like, this is a conversation. I know that everyone's like, "Can you guys get to the point about rentals? I've been wanting to hear about rentals." We will, I promise. But I have no ability to stay on topic, and I think it's just really important for people to know if they're gonna come on here. We are as far left as you can get. We believe in human dignity, and if that offends you, then please leave us alone. There's literally nothing we can talk about. Human dignity, very important, super important. That's kind of the whole thing. And you'd be surprised how many people have been like, "Yeah, we just felt like it didn't fit with our brand." I'm like, "Then I'm terrified of your brand, man." Like, that's frightening.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry. So we're gonna get back to the rentals real quick. And
Yes.
one thing that I wanted to ask you, and I have my own list, but what are some of the things? Because you mentioned a whole bunch of stuff like the hallways. One thing for me that are two things that three things and a lizard. Three things that are very important for me was, does the controls for the oven, the hot thing, oven, yes, I'm doing great today. Is it on the front of the oven or on the back? Because if it's at the back, that's not usable for me. It has to be at the front. The second thing is laundry. If it is downstairs, I will never have clean clothing. There's no way I could ever go downstairs and then bring it back up. And even if you're talking about a place where there was a elevator, if that wasn't in the unit, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like going downstairs, get the laundry in, sit there or go back up. Like every getting up thing is a whole new event for my heart. And then the last thing for me is the thing I picked up on my house, which is, can I get out of the house? Can I get to anything interesting? And because our sidewalks don't really exist in this neighborhood, I can't get to downtown. I can't get to a coffee shop. I am literally yellow wallpapering it here. And if you understand the reference, we are friends. And like that's it. Like if I lived somewhere in a downtown area in an apartment that I could like get in and out of in a wheelchair, I would have a life. I would be able to meet people, go out and have lunch with people. Instead, my dogs are very happy because they get me 24/7. So what are
Yeah.
some of your like non-negotiables that would like maybe surprise some people that you're like, this has to happen?
I need to have a bathroom which will fit my shower chair with, like, the shower.
Mm.
The shower has to be something that I can actually put my shower chair into comfortably, because for me, standing in the shower like, to shower just triggers my POTS so badly. So, like, washing my hair, heart rate is at least 140, like, or higher, and so it's, like, just that alone is such a big thing. So I have to have a shower that is wide enough for me to be able to fit a shower chair in and be able to sit. Things like having enough storage space for mobility devices because like right now I live in a studio and like my place is the place I live in right now so far from functional really. It is a I did not plan this one well when I moved in here. I'm not going to lie. But I learned a lot of my own mistakes. I learned a lot from my own mistakes, and I am like, "Okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pay attention to the things." And I also came from a background of, like, not really having the allowance to be picky. And so many of us are, like, told our whole lives kind of just suck it up, take what you get, beggars can't be choosers.
Oh my
And,
god,
like
underline that, please. Oh my gosh. That's
right?
therapy right there. That is so it with being like a kid who grew up chronically ill is like, you are causing too many problems. You're draining too many resources. Stop. Everything we do for you is so much extra.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
god. Like,
so
thank you for the therapy.
right? And so, like exactly, but it's like, yeah, it's like one of those, like, you're taught not to have standards, and there's so many issues with the place I live that it's just so completely inaccessible, and then also, like, don't even get me started on how bad the property management is, that's its own extra thing. The way that I have to pay rent is ridiculous because they don't have an online portal, and so that is its own issue and that actually became an accessibility thing for me because I don't want to have to send a paper check. That's a pain in the ass. I'm then
And it's also
waiting
an issue.
and
That
it's
is a security issue. They have your bank account
yeah.
number.
And I'm waiting 3 to 5 business days for that money to come out of my account. So if an unexpected bill comes before that, once again, I'm low income. That money is super tight. And so if a bill comes out ahead of my rent, then now I'm risking overdrafting or like having my rent check bounce, which is that is usually my highest priority when it comes to my bills is my rent. And so cuz I want a roof over my head, it's really nice living in a home,
Yes, yes, it
you know?
is. I've been homeless. It is not fun. I did not
Yeah.
enjoy 0 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, like I would prefer to keep my four walls and a roof. And so I need to make sure that the rent check doesn't bounce, and I don't wanna pay extra fees either. Well, my landlord, my property management company, I don't know exactly what happened in the process, but I'm blaming them.
Feels fair.
So here's the thing. I was with one bank 2 months in a row, sent through bill pay, they didn't receive it. And then I switched banks, and 2 months in a row again, they did not receive it. So now I have to do the ridiculous thing of going, getting a money order, then sending it via Uber courier because that
That's
is the
expensive and exhausting.
it is so expensive and so exhausting. I am so lucky that I live across the street from a place that has money orders, but I still have to get the cash out, which is a security issue of its own. And like, so just everything combined, it's a pain in the butt. It's annoying and it's very exhausting and it is not an accessible way to be paying rent and it is not secure. And so I'm like every time watching that Uber courier with my phone glued to my face as they move through the whole thing and then texting the property manager or emailing them and saying, "Hey, did you like receive it?" question mark. Because they never want to just send me a receipt either. And so just issue after issue. So one of the questions that became an accessibility question for me was, can I pay is there a portal to pay rent online?
Yep,
I
that's
need the
a
portal.
who would think that? Like, who would think that was even a possibility of something like of having to do something like you just did? Like, I wouldn't have even thought of something like that. That's wild. That's a really good one, thank you. I'm really glad you brought that up.
It's
Super
ridiculous,
important.
but it's a real thing. And like there's not a lot of landlords and property managers that don't have portals anymore, but they're still out there. And then you have to do a physical rent payment. And for me to access, because I don't drive at all, for me to access the office for my property manager, it is over an hour by public transit each way. That is so ridiculous, right?
I just wanna existentially scream for you, like, this
Yeah.
I don't know the rules in your state. I know that here in my state, we have a really strong housing board, and the housing board would like, if you were in the state, would be like, "Okay, so here's we're gonna sue them," because what you're describing is something that you could sue for here in my state. I don't know what it's like in yours. But, oh my gosh, and, this is something that we also need to discuss, because there's a lot of people fleeing from states. Your first reason to flee is the most important one, and get somewhere safe. My god, like, just get somewhere safe,
Oh, yeah.
please.
Well, I
After
moved here.
that
I
yeah,
live in Chicago. I moved here from Florida.
honey,
Right? I grew up in Florida most of my life, and so I moved for safety.
I am so glad
That
you're
was yeah, like, that was a, like, big thing because like, Florida is it's rough out there, and I was in rural suburban Florida. Like, it wasn't even like I was in a city, I was in Central Florida in a not so great areas.
my
Like,
heart rate just rose so high,
I
like,
don't go
for, like,
back.
anxiety and compassion for you. I was just talking to the sweetest little baby, like, 17 years old, darling little critter, and they were telling me how they were, like, looking at this college they wanted to go to, but I'm like, "I need you with every fiber of my being because 'cause you're so sweet. I need you to look up the laws in the state, honey." Because you don't have the same laws in Kentucky that you have here in our state. They're very different, and there's very different protections for you. Things you think that you're protected from that you could never even imagine there be a law that would actually, like, make you as the victim actually beholden to something. I need you to look this up because you can't just leave like, the first thing is if you're not safe in your state, get to a safe state. You know which ones they are. But after that, you also might wanna look at what your protections are in those states because, like, in the state I'm in, the protections are insanely good for workers. Like, the protections in California for workers, amazing, amazing. You do not
Chicago's a union
get those
city,
things. Yeah.
so we're it was crazy going from Florida to here.
You
The
mean there's
culture
actual
shock.
laws that protect me?
No, the way that I would be like, "What, you're not afraid to get fired every 5 minutes?" Like,
Yeah. You let me just explain to y'all, if it says "at will," this is not a good place to be, and you need to find a place that is not at will work, especially if you're disabled. you have to not be at an at-will state working, you won't last in the job. And then California has like the protections for renters are so extreme. I would not be a landlord here. I would not be able to be a landlord here. There's no way. The protections are so extreme in the renter's favor, which is great for the renters, and I'm all for it. I just wouldn't want to be on the other side of it. So if you are someone who's looking for a safe state to be in as far as your work is set, you have really good protections for things. I mean, like, we're expensive for a reason.
I mean, yeah, Chicago is honestly surprisingly affordable in comparison to a lot of other
Wow, that's good
similar
to hear.
cities. So here so I did a rundown when I was trying to plan where to move of like the 7 cities I was the most interested in and their cost of living to income ratio. And so Chicago was the one that I found for like for me, would have the best opportunity as far as trying to get myself as stabilized as possible. And fun fact, in Chicago, there's a whole portion of the year because of the weather that they are not allowed to evict people.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, because it gets so cold here, which I personally like the cold. I'll get little flare ups, but my flare ups that I get in the cold, nothing like the heat.
Yes.
Me
It's
and
why I
hot
was looking at
weather.
Scotland. I was like, "I'm sorry, rain and cold most of the time?"
Yep.
"Yes, please."
Yeah. Like it is, like we had snow this week.
Florida must have been a nightmare for you. I'm so sorry, sweetie. That's
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh, I didn't do things there. I stayed home all the time. I didn't go out. I was like yeah, I was like, "I don't want to be here anyway," so,
I have
like
visited 3 times in my life, and all 3 times I thought I was gonna die. The humidity, the heat, like, I was like, "I cannot move." Like, it's just puddle on the ground. That's it. Done.
yep. Yeah, it was like that it was like one of my most recent videos, "That's it. I live here on the floor now." Like,
I loved that video. I was like, "Yep, that I just did that. Wow. I literally spent 4 hours on the floor because of that. That's
yeah,
great."
I think I spent, like, 45 minutes on the floor before finally just, like, getting myself up onto my bed and then just, like, crawling in to curl up with my cat who is on my lap again.
I like, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, why is this host, like, laughing all the time?" The cat is so freaking cute, it is killing me. It has, like, this little, like, skeleton onesie on it, and I am living for it. It is the cutest freaking thing I've seen in so long, and my dogs are gonna hate this, especially the goblin, because 'cause I'm going to have to buy this for the goblin. There's no way my little pug is not going to have a little, like, Skeletor, like, onesie. It has to happen.
But yeah, I
And
think I got
she's too
this
old and
at
tired to run away, so it's great.
I think I got it at, like, Petco or something like that, so but it was just it was so cute, I was like, "I have to put this on him," and I've crocheted him some stuff before and
I
all
love
of
the
that.
crochet game.
I love some crochet stuff, and, like actually, the hat I'm wearing, I made myself.
You're really good. I think I crocheted scarves. That's pretty much where that ended.
I well, it started to get off track real quick, but it started because of last year for Christmas, my girlfriend, I wanted to make a little plush spider. And so I found this pattern on YouTube. Was like, okay, I'm going to make 2 of them because I know the first one's going to suck because I don't know how to crochet yet. So the way I always approach a new hobby is I know that the first time I do it, I'm going to suck, but then I'm going to go ahead and dissect everything I did wrong. I'm going to learn from it. And then the next one's going to be perfect. And that's exactly how this went down. The first one, when I tell you that I showed it a picture of it to my coworker and she started laughing because she said, and I quote, "It looks like that doll from Lilo and Stitch."
I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm not cackling back here, I'm fine. Is this an ADHD thing, by the way, or is this an, autism thing, or is this, like, an EDS thing? Because I swear to you, every one of us has a collection of supplements that didn't work, bracing that didn't work, mobility aids that didn't work, or 1,000 hobbies we have picked up and abandoned with all the accoutrements.
It's all of them. It's the neurodivergence of it all plus the like the yeah, we all have all of the millions of things on hand. I have so much craft stuff at all times. And I think that kind of is one of those things that crafting is very popular amongst the disability community. And I think it's because of the fact that so many of us, like if you're homebound for even if you're just like me, where like I'm not homebound all the time, but I will have days where I am suddenly like homebound You need a low stimulation activity sometimes, or you're going to drive yourself mad.
It's the hardest thing because, like, to get into a flow is almost pain reduction in itself. Like, there's
Yeah.
times where either I'm waiting for my pain pills to take effect or the pain's intractable and the pain pills aren't gonna do it, and I have to find some way to get into a flow. This has been the most frustrating fucking thing about getting older with a disability is all of my flow state things I can't flow with now because they hurt. So I can't knit, I can't crochet anymore at all. That's done. Even like writing my books, I'm having so much pain with typing. It's like I can only write for about an hour. The only thing I'm still doing, even though I dislocate and I'm in agony every second I'm doing it, is drawing. And it's because I love it so freaking much. That's a nice Marie Antoinette crack there at the neck. You and my youngest does this thing where like they crack their neck so hard it sounds like it's a full on decapitation. And so my youngest dressed as Marie Antoinette on the last day of Marie Antoinetting for
My
Halloween.
goodness.
Cutest freaking costume I've ever seen, like, the arterial red, like, silk choker thing was amazing. Sorry, off track, but yeah, I swear, like, all of us have our little flow things, and then we're back to the apartment hunting where, number 1, we need something with pets because I don't know any of us who survive without our bed animals, like, our animals that are with us all the time and do not mind just snuggling all day, and we need a
Yeah.
place that lets us have that, and then we also need space for our freaking hobbies, and there's a lot of them. So
Well,
many.
and my cat has been with me for 10 years. I got him
He looks like
when I was
a kitten.
I've had him since I was 19, so it's been 10 years now as of last month.
Oh my god, I reached so wrong. Okay, anyone who's watching YouTube, can you please confirm for me I'm not insane that you didn't think this person was, like, 22? Because I thought maybe 21, 22. Oh my god, I was
Oh,
so
I get
wrong.
guessed young all the time. That is, like, a constant. I, I frequently get guessed very young. I work with a lot of, 18, 19-year-olds.
I thought you were, like, right because, like, my youngest is, like, right around the age, and my oldest is, like, right around mid-20s. I'm like, somewhere in between there.
No, I'm late 20s. I was like, "Oh, maybe she just looks really young." Or maybe you had kids very young.
I'm almost 50.
You're like, "My mom had me young, so you're, I think, slightly younger than my mother."
Possibly, yeah, I had my oldest, I was right around like, for my area where I lived, I was practically a teenage mother because, like, if you are under 40 having children in the Silicon Valley, my gosh, you get judged, and I was 23.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, like, yeah. Yeah, so I'm typically, like, I'm very used to the surprise when I say my age.
Sorry, I just I clocked it so wrong, I'm just like, "Wow, that's gonna take me a minute to readjust my questions."
Yeah, yeah, I have my favorite is when I'll have, like, an 18, 19-year-old coworker who I'll mention my age, and then they'll have this look of shock and terror, and they'll just be like, "What? No way." And my favorite comment ever was, "I wouldn't have guessed you over the age of 26." And I just looked at them, I was like, "Well, that is practically my age.
There you go.
I am very close to 26, actually."
Yeah, that's wild, and I'm so like, it's crazy, like, thinking about, like, what you're going through now at your age is insane to me. Because like, when I was your age, there was no ACA. That didn't exist, and I part of the reason I got married at your age, was because and it wasn't we were in love, like, my husband and I have been head over heels for each other, but we had to hurry it up because I needed health insurance, and there was no way I was and at the time, I was only diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I do have that too. But that was my only diagnosis, and because I had the diagnosis of fibromyalgia, I was uninsurable. No company would insure me, so I had to get married. But and are you s are is everyone who's listening to this seeing how this is part of 2025? Like, how this is part of that project is because it forces us to get married to be able to have health insurance, which is why I was really shocked, pleasantly shocked, that SCOTUS didn't take up the Oberfeld decision, which is the gay marriage, which is otherwise known as marriage. It's marriage, people. It's
As
marriage.
a lesbian, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. This is marriage. It's people who love each other and are committing to this like the gay marriage is not a thing, it's marriage. But for legal context, I was really surprised to get didn't because I thought they were going to try to like tread it to force everyone to have to get married because that's, that's what happened back in the day when my husband and I got married.
Yeah, it's like we're constantly just kind of hoping that, like, there will be one person on whatever committee, like, section of our government that is just, like, that one, like, because it's all, like, down to, like, 50-50 splits on, like, everything. So we're like, "Okay, please be that one rogue vote that goes off of what they want you to do," and just, like, stray from that, like, normal path. And so we're like, "Okay," like, I'm it's been so stressful, and I have my grandmother, she's wonderful. We love my grandmother. She lives overseas because on her Social Security, she can actually, survive.
But
And
which
so
country? I'm taking notes.
she's in Colombia. And, so she loves it there. But we were discussing actually just earlier today with the way that everything is going and, like, concerns involving the, ACA and everything, that, like, if I become uninsurable and, like, I can't get health insurance, then, like, maybe I should make an annual trip there, stock up on everything I need, do all my specialist appointments in, like, a week, have a really awful vacation, and then come back and,
We've been considering the same thing because most of my disorder stuff that I need to get done, including dental work, because EDS dental work,
yeah, I'm on top of my dentist appointments.
oh my god, like, I was quoted $10,000 to fix stuff, and I'm like, "Wow, I'm already dealing with pain, I'm fine." But just I clocked how much it would cost in other countries, and it was 1,000. And it's
Mhm.
like, there's so many things that you can get done, like, all the testing I need to do, the MRIs, like, I could literally fly to the UK right now and get all of my testing done and stay there for a week and fly back for the same price. I won't do that because we don't seem to have anyone taking care of the air towers right now. So I have no interest in being on a plane at the moment, until the very nice air traffic controllers get everything that they deserve and are happily back at work and happy. No flying for us. Just I don't
I
fly well
really
enough.
hope that they are doing that well by next month and that, everything is nice and resolved for them, because I have to fly next month.
I'm so sorry. Be safe. But medical tourism is a thing because
Yeah.
our like, and I don't know if you saw, like, I get weird posts go viral on TikTok, and it's the weirdest things for the weirdest reasons, and it's never one of my posts. It's never that I thought something was important to talk about, and those get 100 views maximum, maybe 300 on a good day. But if I respond to someone, then I can get 150,000. It's insane. Yeah. I do not understand the algorithm. I don't care enough to try to do it. I mostly do TikTok because I get lonely and bored. And I get to find guests, which is nice because I used to find them on Twitter. And then I'm like, wow, my nose is not the right shape to be on Twitter. I don't want to be there.
No. Yeah, well,
Oh, sorry. One
TikTok.
thing I want to point out real quick, and it's just because, like, it's driving me batshit, is, and we get to swear here, by the way, because if we get to
Okay,
hurt this
cool.
bad, we get to say fuck all the time. I cannot deal. Yeah. I do not
I love
understand.
saying fuck.
It's the best word. What other word is a noun, an adjective, a verb? Like, it covers the entirety of the like,
It
it
really
makes
is.
sense.
Like
It's
like, "Fuck you,
good.
you fucking fuck" is a real word. It is a real
Yes, it's a
sentence.
good sentence. And there's something, like, healing about saying it. Like, like, it's almost, are you old enough to remember we had, like, phones, real phones, and you could slam them down? Yeah, okay. It has that vibe for me of just like,
I miss the, my first phone was a Motorola
"Okay."
Razr, a hot pink one, and
Yep.
I loved slamming
Yes.
that thing shut.
It is a great feeling, and mine was too, mostly because I was obsessed with Dana Scully on the X-Files.
Oh, love
I was
X-Files.
it was my I Might Like Girl starter kit. No, that was, let's be real, that was Jem. But Scully did not help. So I dyed my hair red. I had a Ford Taurus and a flip phone just to, like, complete the vibe.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss those days.
Yeah.
So anyway, my point was that, we have all these, like, super pushback to the 90s and this, like, trying to get rid of any ability for people to just live their flippin' lives by men who crash Grinder every time they all get together. What the fuck is this about? Because I am deeply confused. as to why they decide that this is they all want lavender marriages. I mean, I know they're all in them, but like, why are they trying to force us to all be in them? Like, what? Seriously, even like the CK memorial, which I don't want to say the name because I don't want to deal with that BS. But even at the memorial for someone, the grinder crashed. Like, explain to me why my life has to suck with incredible stress about whether I get health insurance, whether I have rights or not, based on a bunch of men who hate themselves. They don't like that they're not funny, they don't like that they're not creative, and they don't like that they're gay. And because of this, I have to worry about my rights and my ability to survive. Are you kidding me? And they just go to therapy instead of ruining a country.
No, for real. Like why? Like get do anything else, please. Like
Anything.
go, go, go hug your children. Go talk to your wife. Go talk to. Go fight your father. I don't know.
Don't do that to their wives. Those women are so much happier that these men ignore them. Like, they are
This
just
is
living their
true.
world. Like, don't do that to them. Like,
You're right. You're right.
yeah.
They're better
Go
off
to
without.
therapy, man. Go to therapy. In art schools, you have to accept everyone from now on. I'm sorry. Art schools, you just have to. It's for the public good.
My
Men, if you have sons, please, for the love of all that's unholy, go hug them immediately and tell them that you are proud of them right now. It is a public good that you can do.
my running joke after the election was that I was going to be stealing all of the conservative guys' girlfriends. Anyway, I hope this clip makes it on
It would
Fox.
work. It would
Um,
work. Absolutely.
I was like, I'm stealing all the conservative guys' girlfriends. Like, it's
Okay, there's
happening.
someone on TikTok, and I'm never gonna remember their name, and I hate that they're not showing up anymore because they were my feel-good TikTok channel, and it was this couple, and I don't wanna misgender the first person, and I don't know which pronouns they go by. So I'm just gonna say, like, but they do call themselves a lesbian relationship. So I'm just gonna, because that was the whole point of it, was one of the woman has never had a lesbian relationship before. This is her first. And they have all these adorable skits of like their partner bringing them water just because, and the woman being like, this is
Was it Jordan and Alaire?
yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love them.
Love them. Yes.
I
Okay.
am
I can.
obsessed with their relationship.
Did
And
you see
like,
that they're engaged?
yes, I
Yes.
cried.
They
I
just did a whole
cried.
series
I'm
on
not even mad that I cried. I mean, I am in a heterosexual relationship, but that should just say how fucking amazing my husband is, because my Kinsey scale is maybe like 7 or 8, like anyone Lisa Bonet has been married to. Other than that, most men are just not just, no offense, gentlemen, you're just not my jam most of the time. My husband is, and also like he is, like all the stuff that she was saying like happens. I'm like, oh yeah, because my husband does that all the time. It's just a nonstop, "Oh, I think my wife would like this. I think this would make her happy," or this would be like, like he, he knew I wasn't gonna be able to get up this morning. So there was cereal by my bed with coffee for me and like juice to take my pills, and like it's just that level of like care. And I'm like, that shouldn't be gendered. Like, that is not a masculine or a feminine thing. It's, I like this person. I'd like to be nice to them. Like, wild.
like, fellas, is it gay to love your partner? To
Literally,
love your
especially,
girlfriend, wife, like
okay,
whatever.
who's that asshole with, like, the insane beard? Like, he's Joe Walsh? Anyway, it's one of the conservative dudes who feels like if I look like a lumberjack, they won't know I'm gay. That dude. And he's, and I'm like, "You haven't listened to Monty Python, have you, sir? Because 'Cause I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay is a song for that." And
Chicago's very gay. I've met a lot of them that look like that and are very gay still.
he does. He would do so well in the Castro. Man, he has daddy lumberjack written all over him. Like, I'm like, "Oh, honey, honey." The only thing that's different than you and Miss Patagonia, who I fucking love, is that she knows how to do a lace front.
I did get to see Miss Patagonia live out here in Chicago back in April.
You're killing me.
Awesome show. And like she really like goes above and beyond in her activism. Like I will give her that.
I love
She was
everything
so
about
good.
her.
She's my
Yeah,
she's
go
my
ahead.
girlfriend's favorite drag queen. So when I saw her advertise her show, I was like, we have to go. Like we have to. I'm like, we're going.
I feel like there's like 2 different eras. Well, there's a whole bunch of eras of drag. Let's, like, I'm big into history. A lot of eras, but recent, like, what is it? It's like BCE, or what would be before RuPaul? BRP. Before RuPaul, directly after RuPaul. I feel like it was a very different drag than we have now. And I feel like there was, like, a level of drag back then that was very anti-feminist and anti-lesbian, and it was really annoying, and the drag queens were funny as hell, but there was just always this undercurrent of, we're going to take the worst aspects of what people say women are, and we're going to use that to get very popular, and then if you dare show up at our shows, go fuck yourself. And it was just, like, this very, like, kind of undercurrent of misogyny in drag that was really pissing me off. And then, like, Manila? No, oh, why can't I remember? Oh, she did the most beautiful drag where she was not allowed to walk the runway, and she had, this, like, beautiful white sequence dress with bright red down the middle of it to bring attention to period inequity, and she wasn't allowed to walk, and I was so freaking mad. And then I felt like after that, there was just this change where we saw more and more drag queens starting to really honor women and, honor the full human experience. Like, ovaries or testicles, we're all human, and we all have different aspects of femininity and masculinity in ourselves, and, like, I really saw that more embraced and, like, getting to see, like, I freaking love, like, a lot like, Evie Oddly, I mean, I think we both share the favorite.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with her, I love her so much.
She
Like, I feel
was
like she
like
took milk fashion and then went, "Yes," and then just went way over the top alien.
like, have always loved, like, that really weird drag, like, that, like, very abnormal, like, going just
Avant-garde.
avant-garde kind of style drag. So, when I was, like, being diagnosed and everything, and I was, like, figuring things out more, you go through that, like, "I need some representation now" kind of moment.
Yes.
And she was such a, like I had kind of, like, fallen into a, like, kind of, like I didn't feel like myself for a while, and
Mm.
then and it was beyond just the disability stuff, it also went into some personal things that I'm not gonna really go into too much right now, because we can make this another, like, 3 hours long if I did.
We could, like, easily.
And so there's that. But, like, she ended up, being, like, someone who watching her season that made me feel like a person, like, for the first time in, like, a while at that point. I had lost a lot of, like, my interests, like, I didn't feel like anything was bringing me joy, and I used to, like, from the time I was 18, I was going to all the drag shows and stuff like that, like, small town drag is something, and, so, like, it was like, I was going to, like, different shows and stuff, like, I knew the staff at my hometown's gay bar, for a while until from, like, the ages of, like, 18 to 22 until it, like, closed its doors, but, like, so, like, I knew the staff there and stuff, so that I was there frequently, I saw a lot of drag, and, like, I was very into it, and I was a big RuPaul fan, me and my friends, we would get some boxes of wine while we were underage, and then, we'd go and, like, we'd be, like, sitting in whoever's living room, drinking boxed wine and watching RuPaul's, and then, I fell out of all of that for a while and, like, just kind of went into this, like, I didn't life was happening to me. I wasn't really actively participating in it for, like, a good minute, and then so, like, watching her season when I was going through, like, looking for some, like, representation of, like, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, that was such a big thing for me to see, and it, like, brought back the joy I had for drag a lot, and so I really do like, as far as, like, acceptance goes and everything with disability, I do really, like she'll never know who I am probably, but, I do appreciate her so much for the contribution she made to, like, my ability to accept and my mental health, and, like, I think I was, like, starting to use a cane for the when I was watching her season. And so like just seeing her walk out on stage on RuPaul's with a cane in hand in that one episode on the runway, it was like instantaneously felt so much better about it. Like it was people underestimate the importance of representation. And like that's another topic I can go on about for a while.
We absolutely can. It's so funny because I literally just interviewed someone who's in your area.
Really?
Like, I don't know where you guys live, and I know Chicago's big, but I literally just interviewed someone from your area who's very into TikTok. Going to ask you off air about like if you guys want to actually introduce because you guys would get
Uh,
along so freaking well. I mean, you two of my favorite people that I've gotten to interview lately. It's just been so much fun. But they were just talking about the representation angle and like we're gonna be doing a series on representation in the media and they're gonna be doing their own podcast eventually on the network about this very topic because it's we are always the villains or we're always waiting to die. There's just no in
yeah,
between. And then when you take something as joyful as drag, and drag to me is one of the ultimate, like, as we're watching everything go insane right now, and there's a lot of insane, we get to watch drag and see what actual resistance looks like in joy. And that is one thing that we always need to remember is joy and drag and being loud in yourself is our ultimate resistance. There's no better one. This is like one of the best resistance we have. Gosh, just watch it. Like when you're saying this, like it's that representation, but it was also body representation for me because like I am not a sylph. I was a ballerina and I still had hips and boobs and I couldn't get rid of them. I come from a family of people who look like they were bred from the elven race. They're all like almost 6 foot there and I'm 5'3" on a good day and I am all curves everywhere and these people are like these beautiful sylphs that look like they should be down runways and like growing up with that was hard and then I'm watching Ginger Minge who I freaking love and just out there rocking it and just understanding that whatever body you are in that's your avatar, that's the body you're
yeah.
in, disabled, thick, that whatever it is, that's what you get to experience life through. So you might as well have joy in this. And that's what I take from drag
It
is the
makes
sense of
such
joy and living on purpose too. Like waking up on purpose and living on purpose is something I also take from that because to be a drag queen, there's a lot you're overcoming. And there's a lot you are putting on the line to be you. I have so much respect for drag queens. I have an insane amount of respect for people who are trans, who are non-binary, that is living on purpose and I'm so fucking proud of all of you because that is living loud and as yourselves and there's nothing that find more beautiful than waking up on purpose and being yourself.
absolutely. And like drag is like, yeah, like drag, the joyfulness that comes with it and like everything with it, like it is such a like there's so much room for representation there and like the sheer amount
Mhm.
of like how you can have like just such a like there's no limits with it really. Like I've like there's even like you can go in so many different genres with it. There's weird like avant-garde type of drag. There's like horror type of drag. I actually know a horror drag queen here in Chicago.
Send me their TikTok. I want to
Yeah,
see. Love
I'll
that
have to
stuff.
send you their stuff. And like I actually know a couple of drag queens here in Chicago, which is wild. But like, yeah,
I've designed
it's
entire costumes for drag queens that I will
I
never get to
love
wear.
that. I
Like I'm obsessed
yeah.
with the idea of like costuming drag queens. Like
Oh, yeah. I love, like I've always loved the, like, entirety of, like, drag as a culture, as a concept, and, like, I grew up, like, with well, grew up, but I mean young, and so, like, those, like, late teen years going to, like, because like, my hometown gay bar was an 18 plus club, and so I was allowed in, and so that was, like, one of those places where me and my little group of our friends would always be every week, sometimes multiple times a week, and, it
God,
was
I'm
just
old.
a
We had Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's all we had.
oh my goodness. I do love Rocky Horror. That was
Oh,
me in
Jen to
high
the left.
school. In high school, I definitely got into my Rocky Horror. I remember the boyfriend I had to Rocky Horror, and he just did not understand any of it, and, like, there was,
Bless
like,
his heart.
was like a shadow cast and he was like annoyed that there was the shadow cast there. I was like, that's the point of going, you loser.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I used to test every boyfriend I had. I'd show him either Rocky Horror or Jeffrey. And I don't know if anyone remembers Jeffrey, but if you ever want to see Sir Patrick Stewart being fabulous and really make you question how far on the Kinsey scale he might be, Jeffrey. And any boyfriend who would like balk at that movie or Rocky Horror is like, okay, we're done. That was that.
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah, like, where I came from, it was, like, so abnormal to be, like, into those things that, like, they're because like, I mean, a lot of my representation and the reason I even knew about a lot of things was because of Tumblr. Like, had I been born 10 years prior, I don't know how long it would have taken me to get any form of representation.
We
Because
had
like,
AOL. That's it. We had
yeah,
AOL chat room.
Tumblr I was in high school in the peak of the days of Tumblr, and so that was, like, my jam back in the day. That was just my, like yeah, I loved being on that website, and that was, like that I will say, like, as there were a lot of rough points on there, don't get me
Yep.
wrong. There's there were definitely some questionable things happening, but it was also, like, a huge, like it it did do a lot of forming my worldview and everything because I was in a primarily white area in a conservative county in Florida, and I came from, like, an evangelical household. Like, I was born in Louisiana, like, it was it was the South my whole life mostly, except for, like, a teeny tiny stint in California. And, like, outside of that, like, my representation was brutally non-existent,
Speaking of
and
brutal, how much
yeah,
energy do you have right now? How long can I kidnap you for?
I'm pretty free for a little bit longer.
Okay, I'm gonna try to touch on something real quick, and we'll see if we can talk about it for 10 minutes, and then
Yeah,
I promise I will release you. I will not Stockholm syndrome you. I will absolutely ask you to come back to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. But as we're talking about community and things like that, because we're talking about like social media, I just wanted to like discuss this real quick. We just got to see a major TikTok experiment of a woman who called churches to see if they would give baby formula. And then we got to see the church's responses, one of which could have like really threatened her life by calling her a witch and saying the Bible didn't want her to live. And then I'm watching that clip and I'm watching women behind him nodding away. Yes, praise Jesus. Nod, nod, nod. And all I could think of is when you're in small towns, when you have no other people around you, your family thinks one way, your church thinks one way, your community thinks one way. How do you access things like drag or gay culture or anything or feminism? How do you do that without things like TikTok, without things like Instagram or like social media and community? While it has its major issues, every tool's a weapon if you hold it right. Thank you, Annie DeFranco. What do you think about this? I just like I didn't grow up in a small town. I grew up in a big
yeah,
yeah, but like all I could think as I'm seeing this is like, how do you access other thought processes when you're only like you're looking at some red states where like 80% people voted one way. So how do
yeah.
you think differently if your news is from one place, your socialization, your schooling, and your entirety of your state is one way? How do you think it all another way?
And for me, like, I personally, I feel like I kind of, in a certain way, got lucky that I stumbled into the right groups of friends and that, like, there's this thing that happens where, like, especially when you're like neurodivergent and you're queer, like, you kind of all are like little magnets to each
Yep.
other. And, like,
Usually in the theater
so,
classes is what I found in high
yeah,
school.
I was friends with, like, and, like, looking back, like, there's some of them that I've lost contact with, no clue, like, where they're at now, but, like, some of them I'm like, "That friend was so gay," and I don't know if they realized it then.
Yeah.
Like, it was even, like, I was only so I considered myself bisexual until just a few years ago, just, like, a couple years back, and then I was like, "Ooh, maybe not so much." It's because, like, in
No,
places
maybe the last year pretty much, like, if I wasn't married to my husband, I don't think I'd look at a man again after this year.
And, like, in a lot of those places, though, you are so, like, pushed to be in a relationship with someone of the opposite sex because even your like, I feel like that's, like, a big part of where the, like, bi girls with boyfriends stereotype comes from is because, like, when I went on a ULW dating app in my hometown before I moved away, just out of curiosity because I was bored and I needed out of the house. And I was like, maybe I'll just go on a cute little casual date kind of thing. I swiped for about 10 minutes and then I ran out of people. So you get bored and you just date who's around. And like, you're like, okay, like I just want to be around a human. And like, I'll be honest, that's how a lot of my like relationships in my younger life happened, where because I just wanted a human around. And like that wasn't good. That wasn't right. And I recognize that now. I can't go
It's
back and
human nature. You can't get mad at yourself
yeah.
for, like,
Oh
what we're
yeah.
literally, like, programmed to do.
Yeah, and, like, you're not given the option to be anything else. So, like, I don't know if I personally, like, I feel like I only was able to realize that like, it was able to recognize that I liked girls romantically because of the fact that I had representation via my itty bitty little friend group that had a couple of people who had those, like, randomly liberal parents that were, like I
Do
had,
they
like,
laugh?
one I had, like, a couple friends whose parents were, like, pretty liberal, and then, like, everybody else was from, like, conservative families, like, and, like
You know those parents,
yeah,
like, right after you left the house, just sat down with a glass of wine and go, "Do you think she's figured it out yet?"
yeah, like, absolutely, and, like, so it was just one of those, like Tumblr really was a big part of me figuring things out in regards to that, and, like, having the representation there because you had such minimal media, also, like there were some of the books I read that, like, because especially when you're in high school reading books and they're, like, nice, thick books that big and thank you, Ellen Hopkins, your parents aren't gonna keep reading your books before you read them because they're like, "Whatever, at least you're reading." And so, thankfully, I was able to have some of the books I read that, like, those also gave me it was like sneaking in little pieces of representation and, like, that's one of those things where when they're criminalizing things like drag and they're banning books and all of that, they're not I mean, they're doing what they're doing on purpose and they know what they're doing. But they're also, like, they're ripping away that representation from people who do need it. And,
Mhm.
like, it's such a sad thing to see, like, the anti-drag bills and things like that. I am very proud of the LGBT community in Florida for the way that they've been standing up. I don't know if you saw about
Business.
I don't know if you saw about the crosswalk for the
Mhm.
Pulse Memorial crosswalk that they
Yep.
painted over, and then they've been going in with chalk and filling
Every
it
day.
in. And, like, I'm like and then, like, also there was a bridge in Jacksonville that they used to light up with the rainbow, they banned that. So the people of Jacksonville went with flashlights and film over the flashlights and set up their own rainbow, and I was like, "That's beautiful." Like, I love to see that, like, artistic resistance that they're doing.
And that's where resistance has always been. I'm a
Yeah.
super into history, and resistance has always been in art and creativity, which is why they want to squash it so badly.
Yeah,
Because
like,
if they actually gave a fuck about kids, I promise you, no kids have gotten hurt at a drag show. It has not happened. You know where the numbers are? You know who actually hurts kids by numbers? Go look it up because it's not the drag queens ever, not once.
Yep,
I
and,
think I
like
might have heard of, like, one case, and I think it was like, "No, that wasn't it." Like, no.
like, the church I grew up in, I don't know if they had any scandals like that, but, like, also, like, I did find out pretty recently that the pastor had, like, a big scandalous arrest happen where he was on substances, and,
Shocking.
like, I was like, "Wow, I'm so surprised."
How my jaw stayed in place.
Right? Like, what a shock.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I can say this publicly, I think, maybe, who cares? The I have been assaulted more times than I can count, and the only times it happened, like, outside of, like, people I knew was at a Christian camp. Like, this is and I'm not saying Christians are bad, please don't get me wrong. There's a lot I enjoy about that religion, I am not any particular religion, but there's a lot I love about what the guy himself said. Take care of each other. Be kind to each other. Do not judge. Be kind. Take care of each other. Treat
Mhm.
your stranger as a neighbor. Like, always do what you can to help others, and also hold power accountable. Because my favorite chapter is, if your eye offends you, pluck it out. Knock it off looking at women like that. Turn over some moneylender tables. The guy himself I'm good with. It's the rest of it that I have a real big issue with. Like,
I think
yeah.
I've
Anyway,
said
sorry,
so many times in
we're
the
just gonna
last
see how much we can get canceled here.
I think I've said so many times in the last, like, month that alone, like, Jesus would have been well past flipping tables by now.
Oh, yeah. No, he would have no, like, I went to Catholic schools. Like, I am very well versed through college. I was writing a book about the War of the Angels, so I went way deep into the Talmud, into Old Testament, New
Mhm.
Testament, and, yeah, that dude would not be a fan of any of this. If I remember correctly, it was something about, like, an eye of a needle, a
Yeah.
camel,
Camel
rich
through the eye
people.
of a needle. Yeah. Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
whole, like, wealth gospel thing is bullshit. Like, seriously,
Absolutely.
like, just like a weird side my sister and not she's not my biological sister, we just grew up together. We are not allowed to be near each other during any serious event. We were at a funeral, and the 2 of us made have you heard of the giggle loop? Because, like, there's just this moment where you shouldn't laugh, but you're going to. And I am not fucking with you. This preacher was up there at this funeral talking about how this woman's mansion in the sky was being built. But it was being built late because she didn't come to Jesus till the very end, and I'm sitting there looking at my best friend going, "Is this a McMansion situation or do we get a Pinterest board? Like, do we get to choose this?" And, like, it's just like, "You need to shut the fuck up now. Now!"
The
Yeah,
number of times, like, I
we've
will
been
make the
kicked out
jokes
of
at the
so many
inappropriate
things.
time.
Yeah.
I feel it. I have to really, really keep my composure in some situations, and luckily, I don't find myself in them that frequently, but, like, when I do, I'm like, "Time to behave."
I am embracing old age. I am going full swamp witch. I my goal is to be the urban legend of my neighborhood. That
I
is my
love it.
entire yeah, and this
I
is what I'm
have been the
convinced my
urban legend of the
husband
neighborhood before.
we need to
There was
talk
a
about
brief
this.
period, there were some children in a neighborhood I lived in who had a theory I was a witch. I
Love
was
it.
like, "I love this."
And, like, part of, like, my husband is so amazing is, like, he's been trying to figure out how to get the ravens in our neighborhood to roost on our roof, and I'm like, "I'm here for it, yes.
Love it.
We need to do this. We need our army of corvids, like, this has to happen. I love you so much, honey." I have, like, kept you longer than I said I would, so I'm gonna let you go, but I'm
Right.
hoping you will come back and we can talk, a few different topics. One I would love to talk to you about is educational access,
Absolutely.
transportation access.
Yes.
And I think that one of the best episodes you and I could do is, mobility devices. When, where, how, and why. And I think that'd
Absolutely.
probably be one of the best ones because there's so many people who don't know they need it, and their doctors your doctor won't tell you, by the way. Just
No,
if
they
you're
won't.
curious, they'll never tell you.
No, I had to, like I started my girlfriend was the one to tell me, and then like, I had to then like, I started using it, and then I, like, had physical therapy the next session. I went to my physical therapist, I was like, "Hey, I started using this. I wanna make sure I'm using it correctly. Is this good to be using for this purpose?" Etcetera, and asked all my questions there to make sure, but I had to start using it first and then go to the provider and get
Yep,
more. Yeah.
same. And by the way, your provider might actually try to push against it.
Yeah.
But you know what your
Some of them
provider
do.
doesn't have to do? Live your life. Your
Yep.
provider will not have to live your life. Your provider's not gonna have to deal with the pain while you're waiting in lines
Absolutely.
places, and you could be sitting. So, you know your body. They will you will wait for, you will wait for this administration to give you free healthcare before your provider tells you you need your mobility aids. So, I'm hoping to get you back on for that, and I will let you go, but if you people are you on anything else other than TikTok, or are you just TikTok?
TikTok and Instagram, Lake is a cryptid.
What you obsessed with? That's the best name. We're gonna talk about cryptids someday because 'cause I'm obsessed with cryptids.
Mothman's my favorite. I've got a few Mothman little things around.
There's a book out right now of a woman who is, like, obsessed with cryptids, and she did a whole history and went to each state to find out about their cryptids. It's a great book. I'll send you the
That's
title later.
great. Definitely do.
Well, I hope you're coming back on as long as TikTok still exists when this, comes out, who knows? Lake is a cryptid is, the at. If you go to our show notes, I will have it linked directly so you can just go and follow Lake. You will love it. I swear, Lake is hilarious. Also, I know we are all looking for our new chronic illness influencers. I'm not that person. Do not follow me if you want a chronic illness influencer. Most of my content is snarking, bitching, and showing you my art. Go follow Lake as a cryptid. That's definitely a better influencer for that.
All right, good to chat with you. So lovely
Excellent.
meeting. This has been great. And yeah, I'll try to get back on here sometime soon.
Perfect. Just stay on for a second because I just want to chat with you about something. All right. Be kind to everyone. Be gentle. Whatever it looks like to you, be fierce. And let us know if there's more topics you want, especially around housing and access, because we do need to be talking about that.